Welcome to America Reads Fun Learning Activities. We are college students who create learning activities for kids. Our fun activities are focused on writing, reading, and math. Thank you for joining us today. In today's activity, we'll be learning about the standard generate two numerical patterns using two given rules, identify apparent relationships between corresponding terms, form ordered pair consisting of corresponding terms from the two patterns, and graph the ordered pairs on a coordinate plane. So before we could do that, first we just have to understand the general idea of input and output. So let's try what this means with an example. So if you're given the equation y equals 3x, let's say x could be the number of minutes that pass, and y is the amount of money you make. What if you worked 5 minutes? Is 5 x or is it y? You are right if you said it is x. So now, since you know what x is, you plug it in the equation above and you get y equals 3 times 5. And what's 3 times 5? 15. So you make $15 from working 3 minutes. That's a pretty good deal. So let's try and put this in a table. So a table just easily explains some data. So let's say x was 0. How much money would you make? $0. Let's say if x was 2, how much money would you make after 2 minutes? You would make $6. So pause the video right now and try what it would be like for 3 and for 5. You were right if you said 9 for 3, you make $9 after working 3 minutes. And for 5, you would be correct if you said 15. You make $15 after working 5 minutes. So what's the meaning of x and y after this example? Well, x is what's inputted. It's independent. Y is the outcome. It is dependent. So the amount of money you make, y, is dependent on x, how many minutes you work. Let's try a harder example with the equation being y equals negative 5x. So first one's a bit easy because if you put 0 in for x, then you get y equals 0. But for 2, you put 2 in for x, you get negative 5 times 2, and that equals negative 10. So see if you can do 3 and 5 by yourself. Remember to pause the video a little bit, get your brains thinking. You were right if you said negative 15 and negative 25. So let's try another example. Y equals 6x. So one thing you should notice is that our x's that we're testing can be negative. So let's try and plug in a negative 3 up in the x column. So you'd get y equals 6 times negative 3, and you would get negative 18. Okay, what if you plug in negative 1? You get 6 times negative 1, and then you'd get negative 6. So now the other two are positive. So just like we did before, try and do that again. You should have gotten, if you plug in 1, you'd get 6. If you plug in 3, you'd get 18. Time to get graphing. Let's use those charts and make a graph out of it. So some notes about graphing before we begin. X is always indicating left or right. If you look at X, you can see how it kind of can look like it's walking, so it can go left or right. Left means you're going negative. Right means you're going positive. What about for Y? Y, you could think about it like Y is jumping, so you can either go up or down. So down is negative, and then up is positive. So I gave you an equation and I already have a pre-made chart. So let's try to graph that. Remember, when you're graphing, you always start at the center. So 0, 0, I have my dot there. So in this case, it's 0, 0, because if x is 0, then y would equal 0. So next, let's check our other points. 1 and 3, because you read them horizontally. So it's saying go to the right 1 and go up 3, and you would land right here. So for the next one, it's saying, since 2 is positive and 6 is positive, you know it's gonna go to the right and up. So you have to go 2 to the right, because you always go x, y first. So 2 to the right, and then up 6, and you should land about right here. Okay, last one. See if you can do that by yourself. Pause this and use your fingers, move it across. Remember, since it's positive, you have to go to the right and then up. And then our number line doesn't go up till 9, so you can kind of guess where it should be, and it should be around that area, and notice that it looks like a line. Let's try this again with negative numbers. So notice in our equation we have a -2, y equals -2x, and notice the numbers that we're testing on the bottom can also be negative, so you don't have to always start with 0, 1, 2, 3, you can start with any number you want to put in. So now let's try graphing our first one. I already put it up there, but you can see since x is negative, you're going to the left first. So left 3, then up 6. For the second one, x is negative, so you have to go to the left. Left 1, up 2. For the third one, you can see how it looks similar to the previous one we just did. This time y is negative. So you have to go to the right, because x is positive, so right 1, -2, so down 2, and you would land right there. So what does that mean for 2, -4? Pause and think about it a bit, and press start once you have your finger on the correct area. Yep, so since 2 is positive, you have to go to the right 2, and then go down -4, and you would land right there. That's the lesson. You should have learned the relationship between x, the input, and y, the output, how to find a table for an equation, graphing positive and negative numbers. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you come back and learn some more.